Caught in a lie. The moment I heard his phone buzz at 2 a.m., I knew I was in for another sleepless night. He mumbled something about a client and shuffled out of the room, his voice slipping away down the hallway. I followed quietly, curiosity prickling at my skin like 1,000 tiny needles. It wasn't that I was suspicious by nature, but the way he spoke in hushed tones, his words clipped and careful, seemed like a code I was meant to break. I stood in the shadows, heart pounding in my ears, until he ended the call. As he turned to head back, I caught a glimpse of the caller ID glowing in the dark, a name I hadn't thought about since those wild, reckless high school days. It was her. The one who'd been the center of every rumor, the girl who'd left a trail of chaos and broken hearts in her wake. I felt a rush of emotions, anger, disbelief, and a sickening nostalgia. I confronted him in the kitchen, the air between us tense and crackling. He stumbled over his words, concocting a story that was as fragile as a house of cards. Business, he insisted, but the tremor in his voice betrayed him. I demanded the truth, my voice rising like a storm. He confessed, not to an affair, but to something even more bewildering. She was blackmailing him. It all started with a chance encounter, or so he claimed, and spiraled into a web of secrets that threatened to unravel everything we'd built. She had photos, compromising ones, from a night he swore he couldn't remember. My mind raced, trying to process this new reality. He begged for forgiveness, for understanding. But I was torn, caught between the man I loved and the stranger he'd become in the span of a few minutes. The twist? The real shock wasn't the betrayal itself, but the realization that I'd known all along. Not about her, specifically, but the gut feeling that something was always just out of place. I'd ignored it, buried it beneath layers of denial and hope. Now I stood at a crossroads, staring into the mirror of my own heart. The decision loomed before me, as heavy as the silence that followed his confession. Would I stay and fight for the fragments of trust we still had, or walk away from the love that had defined me for so long? The answer was a tangled mess of emotions, a choice I never thought I'd have to make.